Hey guys, Jim here once again, and I want to take a little visit with a wee little bitty knife that I have just recently acquired that is a wonderful example of what hand craftsmanship can deliver. This is a Jarosz knives. Jesse Jarosz does, just astounding work. And I had just recently discovered him. I'd say around October of 2012, I had seen, I came across a picture or something. And I said, oh man, that thing is just friggin' cool. Then I Googled his name and I came across his website and I saw his photo gallery. And I fell in love with the many different styles of blades and handle materials and things that he offered in a singular model. And obviously he makes more than one model, but this one here, the Model 75, was the one that had captured my attention. And he does crazy stuff, and from what I understand, it's pretty much sky's the limit. If you can think of it, this dude will do it. I mean, he's just crazy like that. Unfortunately, right now his books are closed. I have a feeling that sometime in the near future he may be able to start taking orders again, but I'm assuming he's going to get flooded. He's getting, the name is getting out there, and it's going to end up being a long wait. But I'm going to tell you this right now, right off the bat. Whenever it is that he does open up his books again, try to get in on them. Even if it's a 6-month, 8-month, 12-month wait, who cares? Just get in on his stuff. This guy is doing just beautiful, beautiful work. Now, this is one of the very rare times where I did a catch and release. I received it and decided on that same day I was going to get rid of it. And it has nothing to do with the knife itself or the quality of it. It really just has to do with my frame of mind, the type of collecting I'm doing right now. And this is a wee little bitty knife. And I knew it was going to be small. But how many times have you heard or seen a measurement and it didn't really quite register? Let me give you an example. This is a CPM 154 blade in 2 7/8 of an inch. Now, obviously, that's going to dictate that it's a small knife. All the photography that everybody seems to do on it, they do, stuff like this. It's photographed like this, and it doesn't look anywhere near as small as it really is. It's almost exactly the same size as a small Sebenza. I don't have one sitting here next to me, so the next closest thing I could come up with is the little Silent Soldier flipper from Jason Browse. I mean, they are nearly identical in size. I think the Jarosz may have a teeny tiny little hair more just in the frame. Another good example would be my Chris Martin Phantom Steelworks PF1 flipper. A lot of guys have gotten into these, so if you own one of those, it's again nearly identical. Another popular knife that people have gotten into is the F3 from Dave Curtis. And you see the F3 is considerably larger. I have the 3.5 inch version. I think if I had the smaller version, it'd probably be almost identical. So it's 2 7/8 of an inch. Very small. And for some reason, both of these knives, even though they're the same size, tend to feel a little bigger because they're a little bit thicker in the handle. Just the way the ergonomics are set up, they just feel a little bit bigger. So I'm fine with carrying this as an EDC. But when I got this, it just felt so small. And here's the reason why. He gives you a lot of room in that handle. You see there's a lot of room left over. Look at that nice centering. Did a great job there. But he gives you a lot of room here. So I think if the butt of the grip was the same size as the blade, you'd feel it instantly in your hand how small it is. But really that's the only reason I'm getting rid of it. But I had to highlight this knife before I do. I am so in love with the quality that I've already talked to Jesse. Jesse is a fantastic guy. Just recently brought him into a private group that I started last year. And he's been kind enough to share his philosophies and post every now and then. And I already told him whenever it is that you're ever accepting orders, I'm going to get the Model 100, which is the larger version of this knife. I already have it picked out. I already know how I want it done, and I do want this blade. He does a lot of really cool blades, but look at the compound grind here. You've got this beautiful hollow grind, and I mean, it is perfect on a recurve. It's a very slight recurve, but a recurve nonetheless. Going to a flat grind at the nose of the blade. Again, look, oh boy, that was scary. Look how everything perfectly meets up. To the false edge, the top swedge. Just amazing work on this blade. It is one of the sharpest knives I've ever had in my possession. It is ridiculously sharp. And that's one of the things that he prides himself on. He believes in a fierce cutting edge. And that's kind of refreshing because as many of us are beginning to collect more and more, we're finding more and more makers that put less emphasis on their cutting edge and more on their fancy initial grinds and more on their jimping and more on their handle scales and things like that. And they kind of, it's not that they forget that the knife is made to cut, it's just that I think they're trying to satisfy so many different people's needs. You know, because it seems like everybody and their brother on a forum nowadays wants to test how it's going to hack into a piece of wood and if it's going to chop down a tree and this and that. And you can't have a thin, fine, delicate edge that will, you know, slice thin sheets of garlic and have one that's going to hack through a 2x4. You just can't do both with one blade. So I think maybe it's kind of the fault of the consumer that knife makers are kind of losing their way and, no pun intended, losing their edge. Jesse is all about creating a super sharp, crazy blade. And he did a fantastic job. I'm very impressed. I can't stop staring at the perfection and the beauty of that blade. Now, when Jesse saw me put up pictures of this is how cool he is, how much he remembers. He's like, oh my God, that's this knife right here is the very first knife I ever sold. And it was the second one that I built. How cool is that? I mean, I would love to keep it just for the fact that it's, you know, it's the very first knife that he ever sold. The problem is I am not a safe queen kind of guy. Everything I own has got to be carried. So I know that this is not going to be carried just due to its size. When he makes me a Model 100, I'm going to carry the shit out of that. I'm assuming this is black linen micarta. It could be some kind of very fine G10 that he may have kind of smoothed out a lot, but it looks to me like some black linen micarta that I've had in other knives in the past. Here is the liner lock. Here is his lockup. Now, I can't attest to how often this may have been carried or used in the past because I bought this from a fellow USN member. Didn't really ask much about its history. Didn't care. I knew I wanted it. I wanted one of his designs. I had to have it. And I really didn't care about too much else. But I really felt the need to give an overall look at this amazingly beautiful knife. And to kind of just share my excitement with everyone about the quality of his work. Everything here is 100% hand-built. He's not outsourcing anything. It is a true full custom, which is another exciting thing. There's nothing wrong with mid-techs at all. I've certainly owned plenty of those, but it's really nice. God, I love the feeling right there. You know what I haven't done? I haven't done any cut tests for a while. Let me grab a sheet of paper here. I'm not going to really abuse this because at this point this is no longer my knife. The buyer has paid for it. But I just want to kind of show you how wonderful his edge is. And I know that's not a real world test. That's nothing to get overly excited about, but it bites into the paper and it just slices right through it. And for such a teeny little blade, it's actually a really impressive knife. Again, if this were like a full inch larger, or even a ½ inch larger, there's no way that I would give this thing up. So I just kind of wanted to give a shout out to Jesse and the great work that he's doing. I know he's going to be at the Blade Show, so for those of you that are going to be attending the show, go visit his table. Go talk to this guy. Get to know him and see the quality of work that he's going to have on display. I'm sure he's going to bring out plenty of fun little trinkets to play with. I'm at the point now where it's pretty much impossible for me to get the time off of work. I really had planned on going and wanted to go. Unfortunately, I can't. And this is one of the guys I would definitely be spending some time talking to and sampling some of his wares. But I'm going to do that anyway, sight unseen. The second I'm able to, I'm going to get a Model 100, the larger version, and it's going to be a daily carry, slick some bitch, I think. But anyway, I just want to give you guys a quick look at it. I'm not going to flick it or anything. Again, as I said, at this point, this is really no longer my knife, and I don't want to abuse it for the next owner, who is surely going to cherish it. I don't think I even told him about the provenance of this one, so I think I'll make sure to email him tonight and let him know. I mean, how cool is that? But I want to give you guys a look. There aren't a lot of videos out on YouTube right now on his products, and I think it's just because they're so hard to get and they're so hard to find. I don't see a lot of people flipping them. I actually haven't come across one for sale. Even the guy I bought this from, we were talking about another knife, another deal, and he offered this as one of the knives that he was looking at selling in the near future. So I don't really, see him listed all that often. People seem to hold on to him, and I think that speaks volumes for the quality of the work that he's producing. But I just had to kind of share it. Jesse does have a YouTube channel. If my lazy ass doesn't forget, I will put it in the description on this video so you can go check out his channel. He doesn't have a lot of videos up, and the few that he does, they're actually kind of cool. They're grinding videos, and he talks about initial grinds and rough grinds, and shows some of the blade work that he's done. So it's kind of educational, kind of cool. It's kind of like watching, Jake Hoback's channel or something like that. So, or Will Moon, kind of neat, kind of fun. But, I know this guy is definitely getting more and more popular. The forums have, really kind of warmed up to him, liked his simple style. And that's one of the things that I found interesting when I realized just how young Jesse is. I mean, you look at that design, this looks like something that a more seasoned, elder type of knife maker might manufacture. The younger guys typically go for the more aggressive stuff, crazier, wilder things, more intricate designs and the scale work and whatnot. And he's doing something that I think is kind of a timeless beauty. This is something that I think would be equally as attractive to someone who's 30 as someone who is 60. Maybe not this blade profile here, but he certainly has more standard clip points and things like that. But he's not throwing too much at it. And I've seen some wilder stuff where he uses, different levels of G10 and different colored liners and maybe anodized on the titanium liners and whatnot. So obviously if you wanted this thing in pink and purple freaking zebra stripes, I'm very certain the guy will do it for you. But when I look at just the organic shapes of what he's making, the care he's taking in particular on the steel, this is kind of an old school kind of guy. I don't know who his inspirations were. I don't know who he learned from. And maybe that influence would explain his manufacturing style or his craftsmanship. But I like this kind of classic look. Again, aside from the blade grinds, that kind of classic look that he brings into his knives. So if you've never had a chance to experience one of his knives, or maybe you have, check out his channel, check out his website, chat him up a little bit. He's on Facebook and everything else. Get to know him, and then when his order books are open, you'll know about it, and you can get your order in and see for yourself why I find this to be such a beautiful little piece. Anyway, that was just a quick look at it. Wanted to kind of show it off a little bit. The only chance I'm going to get to, because tomorrow it's going to get packaged up, boxed up, and sent off to its new owner. And hopefully he will appreciate it as much as I did. Hopefully more so. Hopefully he's more appreciative of a smaller blade and he gets a chance to carry this all the time. That's the one thing I regret. I never carried it. I've only had it for a day and a half. And I kind of wish I would have thrown it in the pocket just one time, just to see what it carried like. Just to have a couple little EDC cutting tasks with it, because it sure is a beauty. Jesse, you're probably not watching, but if you are, you did beautiful work. This thing opens like a sliding glass door. It is smooth, beautiful action, great lockup, very solid. I mean, I can't really, there's no real fault to be had here. And as an example of your early workmanship, I'm very excited to see what you're up to now that you've got a few more knives under your belt. All right, guys, if you have any questions, I'm not sure how many I can really answer, again, because of the limited exposure I've had to him and to his knives. But feel free to leave any comments you'd like in the comments section, and we'll go from there. Thanks for watching.